There's some good news in Congress about the fourth stimulus check. Developments are being made on the fourth stimulus package for Social Security recipients, and Chuck Schumer just announced his new strategy to get these bills passed through Congress, without Republican support that is. But first, remember everybody that my goal of this channel is to provide you with the most up-to-date and reliable stimulus check information, all the time. I always want to do my very best in helping you folks out with stimulus check information, because I know many of you guys are in need of financial assistance. And I do support the fourth stimulus check. If you do support a fourth stimulus check, get this video to 1,000 likes. Extra financial support for seniors is coming soon for all senior citizens in 2022. This is all because of the recent surge in a crisis. And inflation has definitely been hurting some communities very hard as the crisis only evolves. This is even despite the fact that over 169 million payments have been sent out in the third round of checks. The good news is that there is a continued push for a targeted fourth one. The new surge in the crisis had lawmakers very worried, so it is understandable why Americans want more relief passed. Due to the recent surge, folks, we can expect more economists to urge the Biden administration, as well as Nancy Pelosi, to pass more stimulus checks. And in my eyes, I don't think that Nancy Pelosi is just doing enough. She's not doing enough to help out the American people. And more stimulus payments definitely need to be sent out, and Nancy Pelosi has to do her job in helping us out. If you guys agree, tell me in the comments below. So the Senior Citizens League, a nonpartisan advocacy group, started an intense pressure campaign to push Congress to send those receiving Social Security additional money. Leaders of Congress have been urged everybody to pass a one-time $1,400 Social Security stimulus payment, a Social Security stimulus payment specifically for seniors. Such a measure could help defray the costs that are associated for some seniors from the 2022 COLA, which was the highest in over 40 years, putting them into a higher tax bracket. Seniors have also started to receive new COLA increase, but inflation is already running higher than its value, putting recipients at a disadvantage. Alrighty everybody, don't forget about this. Chuck Schumer will bring social spending and the voting bill to the floor in just a few days, using existing congressional rules to try to invade initial GOP filibuster. The House of Representatives will pass a bill containing both federal elections and a Voting Rights Act. The Senate will confront its debate over the filibuster when Chuck Schumer moves to shut down the debate. This is a very big deal. It is likely that the Senate rules will change for the first time in many years, all this week. Schumer said in a statement the Senate will finally debate voting rights bills, and that every senator will be faced with a choice of whether or not to pass the legislation to protect our democracy. Joe Biden also was attending a special caucus meeting with Senate Democrats today, as the party still struggles over how and whether to take and weaken the filibuster. Senators are furiously lobbying Manchin and Sinema to back off their opposition to weakening the 60-vote requirement. I definitely do think that Manchin and Sinema need to stop being so stubborn. It is important that the American people receive the stimulus checks that everyone needs. Even Schumer vows to hold a vote on potential rules. Schumer has yet to indicate what his final proposal to the caucus will be, and there are several different possibilities of what the final proposal could look like. Schumer is sure that his tactics will ensure that the bills will be passed through the Senate. It would just take a simple majority to bring the bill to the floor, but 60 votes to end the debate. Now, unless Democrats change the Senate rules, something has to happen. The Senate Democrats are already weighing several potential changes, including reinstating a talking filibuster, creating a carve-out that would almost allow more legislation to pass by a simple majority, and allowing the Senate to begin debate on a bill by a simple majority vote. They do need all 50 Democrats on board to unilaterally weaken the filibuster. I do hope the Democrats are able to change the Senate rules so that more bills can pass through Congress without having to deal with Republican opposition. This also means more stimulus relief packages and stimulus checks being sent out to the American people. If you guys support a fourth stimulus check, tell me in the comments below. I definitely think it's necessary, and I definitely want to see President Biden do this. Thank you for your support again, and until next time, have a great day.
Essential as we address our changing environment. No one knows that better than someone from Louisiana. One thing I'll add, and in this process, we'll also be creating those jobs that help rebuild the coastline, or to build the pipelines to sequester off the carbon dioxide, etc. And I think it's important to send a message. There's going to be a lot of jobs in the mountains. So thank you.
Just want to add 2 quick points. One, when we announced the framework last week at $579 billion, it took a lot of work to get there and to maintain it. And I commend all of my colleagues. I mentioned to the president, Susan and I, and a number of us, Joe and others, yesterday were at the funeral of my dear friend John Warner. And my hope is when this framework becomes law, that we do it in the spirit of John Warner. And I would hope to convince my colleagues that we actually name this legislation after him. We all commended his ability to work with people across party lines, the fact that he always put country first, and I think my colleagues have demonstrated that.
I think it's important to recognize that when we say a bipartisan bill, what that really means, not just to those of us in the Senate and the Congress working with the White House, but that signal that it sends to the country. Again, that we actually can work, that we actually can reform, that we can do something, not for Republicans or for Democrats, but for Americans. When we talk about infrastructure, there's a lot of diversity here. My friend John Warner has mass transit. I don't have any roads. I have ferry boats.
Is John Warner here? John Warner was put to rest yesterday.
President.
Mark, not John.
That's right. Let's just say Warner as mass transit. But I'm speaking to the diversity of what we know and understand in this country, the diversity of needs, the diversity of interests, and thus why it's so important to come together not only across parties, but really to come together for projects that benefit the entire country. It's a great effort, extraordinary.
Well, let me congratulate everybody who's been part of this effort. The challenge now is to make sure that the rest of our caucus on the Democratic side and the Republican caucus know what's in this bill and can join us in supporting it. It is critical that we begin to invest in our infrastructure. We have underinvested for way too long. We spend less now than we did in the 1960s. If we're going to be competitive with China, with our adversaries, then we've got to make these investments. That's what this bill does, and I'm delighted to have the President's endorsement of it today.
Good job.
Just real quick, between us and lunch here. All right. I just say, look, this is a great group of people here. One of the big surprises I had coming to Washington was the sense that while everybody was fighting with each other, you know what, we get along really well. This group gets along very well. My colleagues in the Senate, we work together. And it's been years and years, people have been talking about the infrastructure needs of our country. We know that. We recognize the crumbling infrastructure. And this group came together and actually got a job done. I don't know how far it's going to get. I think it'll get all the way. We got the president behind it, this group here, but we're going to keep